got me feeling stupid right now. Got me drinking shots of whiskey, trying to forget this bullshit. Love is so right, although I tried. This has gone on too long. You told me lies, so many lies. I want to start over. Baby, I am dying now. I don't know why you're smiling. This is how you broke my heart, and I can't believe I loved you. No, no, no. How could you do this to me, do this to me, do this to me? I sing it with me now. How could you do this to me, how could you do this to me? No, 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 no. Yeah, yeah, alright. Now this is how we do it in the UK. Do you feel me? No, 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 no. All the colors are fading, fading. I don't like this feeling. Used to see the moon and the stars, yeah, but now the skies are empty. Love is so right, although I tried. This has gone on too long. You told me lies, so many lies. I want to start over.
Super Mama, ready? Ready? 1, 2, 3.